Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, I want to talk about equality for a moment. You know, when people say, like, what do you bring to the table? And some women's responses are, I am the table. I think that's a dumb analogy because it doesn't really complete the analogy. It's just stupid. And it's very entitled for people to say, I am the table. That's like saying, what do you bring in this negotiation? I simply bring myself. It's stupid. I'm sorry, it's dumb. What if we this will only work if we think non metaphorically in this analogy. Because it's just dumb. I'm sorry. You have to add more subtext and context. I mean, more subtext to the analogy than is needed. So my thing is just when people say, "What do you bring to the table?" I'm gonna suggest it's gonna be a form of equality in the relationship. In my opinion, this is my theory. I'm single, right? I'm just getting a single man giving his theories on dating. I think it got to be some kind of equality there. It got to be some kind of equality. So, like for instance, I'm gonna be a little shallow and say this woman's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's a 10. You know, but she doesn't really cook or clean or anything like that. That's some kind of equality. And I get it. We all get older, so stuff like that. So, but just in that instance, there's some kind of equality because fine, she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, she doesn't do all that stuff, but she's a pretty face. So if a man's providing and stuff like that, he got a pretty face to come home to, and if she's real supportive, that's definitely going to be a plus. That's going to be definitely a plus. There should be like an acquirement into that equality analogy that I'm making. Let's say let's say a dude is good looking. He's young. Um, an older woman who she makes a lot of money. So let's say the dude in this analogy just doesn't work, but he's handsome, he's young, and he's attractive. That's some form of equality, and that exists actually. That's some form of equality. Let's say old man makes a lot of money, makes a killing, but he's not as young, and he's probably not as fit as he could be, and for his age, but he makes a killer amount of money. He meets a young person. He meets a young person from abroad. That's some kind of equality. She has a youth. People do this all the time. People use age in a inverse way all the time. The women have a term for this. They call them cougars. The men, some even before Passport Bros was a thing, men were leaving with who had a lot of money, took advantage of their lot of money from their country and went to a different, completely different place, and then they became even more wealthier. Based off currency exchange and stuff like that. But yeah, and they got a pretty young girl. Them Philippines, that stuff is like gold now. It's like a gold rush in the Philippines. These women are being sought after like hotcakes. They are. And it's just because they're pretty and they're young and they're nice and they're kind. Again, nobody likes a pretty woman. Some people do. But and again, some people find the balance in a pretty woman who probably isn't nice and probably doesn't really contribute physically to anything or emotionally. She contributes just for being pretty, a pretty body, and a pretty face. And I know people say that's objectification. Well, she's obviously objectifying herself. And I'm not saying that sexually. I'm just saying she knows she's pretty and gets away with stuff. We call this pretty privilege. Well, why do you think we call this pretty privilege? Because this person knows that with their prettiness, with their appearance being excellent, like a 10 in the book, pretty like Beyonce pretty, that they're getting to places that they normally wouldn't go to if they were average. So it's equality. It's some form of equality that's happening. When Joe Schmo walks in there, he's going to have to pay when he gets into that party. Pretty girl looks around, looking pretty, get her makeup, and they say that's effort. I suppose that is effort. But a dude, if it takes a woman spending like an hour and a half or 2 hours to get her makeup done and whatnot, but it takes a dude like 20 years to get $1 million just to be with her or be around her or have her and a bunch of other pretty girls on a yacht, that's in its own way, it's equality. In its own way, it's equal. But at the same time, those are the solid figures there. And again, being pretty and putting makeup on is a skill. So just like with the transgender community, they like the transgender women, they put up their makeup and stuff. They did it so well that women became inspired by their makeup. So It's a skill, you know. And how much, what they say, it takes 10,000 hours to create a skill, to be very good at something, for mastery. So it's a skill. Um, it's just a skill that just, it takes advantage of a pretty face and maybe an average face, and make a face highlights their beauty, you know, exacerbates their beauty. But at the end of it, I just want to say that, you know, we have these balances, and they exist. And I'm sorry, some of these women, like for instance, OnlyFans, these women take advantage of this stuff. They pretty out here. These e-girls, they take advantage of it. They just gotta dress up pretty and be the e-girl chick. And it's